Thank you. It's a pleasure to be at LSI. I'm Adam Greenspan, CEO of Trace Orthopedics, and we are making tendon repairs easy. The vast majority of all partial tendon tears are not treated effectively. In the shoulder, only 10% of all patients with pain make it to surgery. In the hip, over 10% of all healthcare patients over 60 report hip pain, yet are not surgical candidates. What's going on with partial tears? They occur all around the body, most commonly in the hip, shoulder, and ankle. Because of cost, risk, and recovery, most partial tear cases are never referred for surgery, or it takes years. Our solution is the Trace Tendon Fastener System. On the left side is the fastener anchor implant, which is preloaded into the distal end of the percutaneous delivery needle. What you see on the right is actually two pieces, a stylet driver contained within the hollow needle coming out of the handle. Here's a brief video animation of the Trace fastener. So it's ultrasound guided through the small needle with the implantable anchor screw and spring unit that's fitted inside, as I said, and then on implantation, the spring compresses into a washer and loose tendon is tacked to the bone without full anesthesia and no trip to the operating room. So the current landscape ranges from minimal to more invasive. Frontline treatment is conservative, including injections, platelet-rich plasma injection, and tenotomy, which is an ablation procedure. It's a rapidly growing market, but these have not been clinically validated to achieve repair. On the other side is open or arthroscopic surgery, which is a mature and crowded market, but there's nothing in between which manifests as a major treatment gap for partial tear. Trace is pioneering bridge procedures for tendon repairs without a trip to the operating room. It's a huge market. Over 31 million partial tear cases are reported each year in the United States. We have a readily serviceable market niche classified by cases of partial tear with clean edges, i.e. no shredding of the tendon, no retraction away from the bone. This is at the insertion point into the bone. Plus, in addition to partial tears, surgeons want our fasteners in total joint cases also for extra stability in just a few steps rather than a knotted suture anchor product to avoid a partial tear post-op. This will significantly increase our market penetration. Our commercial development program began with a pilot study at Colorado State University, which has an impressive contract research organization in their veterinary school. It was extremely successful. Trace implants were tolerated by sheep with less scar tissue than expected, and evidence of healing progress on histology. I'm showing the slide here. We submitted these results for publication. We held 2 FDA pre-sub meetings, and we completed a pivotal study in sheep at Colorado State, 36 animals. The 16-week groups had higher pull-out strength than the 8-week groups, which would be expected, and ours was equivalent to the comparison predicate device. So now we're waiting a couple weeks on the final histology and test reports. So for commercialization, we have selected Cretex RMS as our contract manufacturing partner, and we're ready for quality compliant production and final verification and validation testing. So this puts us on track for FDA clearance for 510(k) submission by the end of 2025. Follows 2 pre-subs last year that aligned us on product classification code, predicate device, and preclinical testing. So we will launch in 2026 with a 2-phase limited market release with gluteus medius as the beachhead. We have surgical reimbursement codes and over 50 interventional radiologists and orthopedic surgeons lined up at a cohort of hospitals and private practices led by Penn Medicine, the Mancera Institute in South Philadelphia, and New York, and then beyond. These are the surgical codes available for the Trace procedure right off the bat, which is a critical driver to adoption, especially when coupled with the time savings. We'll start with the general hip codes and then add more clinical applications in the hip, plus shoulder and elbow. Eventually, we envision specific reimbursement codes for the Trace procedure. The initial ASP of the main Trace fastener kit is $800, with COGS is under $200. Some cases will use a second preloaded fastener with a similar profit margin, which is over 75%. Our first revenue is going to be next year in 2026 from the Gluteus Alpha launch, and then we'll be profitable by 2027. That's going to be driven by two main factors. As we're coming out of Alpha, we're going to move to a higher price point, approximately $1,200 ASP, and we'll expand indications, repairing rotator cuff, elbow, and Achilles, plus the adjunct in total joint cases. Our core team has dozens of patents issued, products launched, and deals executed. I'm a biomedical engineer turned entrepreneur. My co-founder, Dr. Bill Morrison, is the interventional, he's a KOL in interventional musculoskeletal radiology. He's a director at Thomas Jefferson in Philadelphia, and he's already brought a steerable needle product to market. And I'm going to call out one of our scientific advisors, turned 1099 contractor, turned employee, Emily Meyering. She's amazing. She's taken numerous products through FDA, programs through ISO certification. She owns a veterinary product OEM as well, and she is helping with our operations, namely animal testing and manufacturing. So our medical advisory board includes 3 orthopedic surgeons, and we're adding interventional radiologists to the group. Dr. Kaplan is with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and yeah, I'm happy to share a link to the video testimonial if anyone wants to email me. Dr. Bill Myers, he started and owns the Vincera Institute, which is a private practice in South Philly where pro and Olympic athletes go for groin repair. And Dr. Hornstein was an early investor of ours, and his text during a case, but thinking of Trace, says it all. So we include that here. And onto our funding. We've in total raised $2.5 million, mostly in an oversubscribed A round led by Keiretsu Forum Mid-Atlantic, and the syndicate includes several MSK radiologists and orthopedists. Post money is at $8 million, and next quarter we are opening a $4 million B round. The first $1 million will take us into our limited release, so that will either be the first tranche or a bridge. The B round will be priced to raise $4 million at a $14 million pre-money. The bridge will be as notes to convert in the B, capped at $11 million, and a 20% discount if we go that route. We see 4 value-inflecting milestones that will give us opportunities to exit. We're projecting an ROI of about 4 to 15x in 12 to 36 months, according to the schedule. First is getting FDA clearance, and then after successful alpha launch, our estimate is about 100 cases. If we're not acquired by then, we'll complete our B round to expand our indications and introduce product improvements such as surface-coated substrates and bioabsorbable compositions. Using the median trailing 12-month revenues in select comps, including the Embody and BioRes acquisition deals, Trace anticipates an exit target approaching $140 million if we successfully achieve these milestones. Trace Orthopedics is pioneering image-guided fixation. Join us as we give people back their mobility. Thank you.